England is home to one of the major financial centres of the world. Whilst the work of bankers, traders and politicians has helped make the UK the 7th richest nation, you only need to walk a few minutes away from the shiny offices of the city to realise the growing gap between the richest and the poorest. Some reports suggest that there are up to 13 million people, including 3.5 million children, living in poverty in the UK. To put it another way, that's 20% of the population who are struggling to put food on the table, who might be facing eviction, and who constantly have to make difficult financial decisions. The effects of poverty are far-reaching and mean that people living in poverty often have limited access to opportunities allowing them to improve their lives. The welfare system simply patches up the symptoms of people's problems and doesn't deal with any of the root causes. The narrative pushed in today's media distorts the reality of people who are on benefits. A recent poll showed the general public thought that 41% of the welfare budget was spent on unemployment benefits, whilst the figure is actually closer to 3%. The polls also found that people believed that nearly a third of benefit claims were fraudulent, whereas in reality, less than 1% are dishonest. Ian Duncan Smith, Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, famously stated that there were 3 generations of the same family that have never worked, but in-depth research failed to find evidence of such a family. This type of demonization is a part of the problem and not part of a solution. Over the past 3 years, Mizan Charitable Trust has been supporting disadvantaged individuals and families through direct financial support in the forms of grants and loans of up to £500. We understand that some people have immediate needs, so we often provide food vouchers or essential household items. We also want to make a sustainable investment in people's lives by improving their employment prospects through vocational courses. Jerusalem is a 26-year-old asylum seeker whose current situation doesn't allow her to work or claim benefits. Her living conditions are completely dependent on the mercy of others, and she is now staying in a convent.
Okay, my original is from Eritrea. I was grew up in Ethiopia, and I was in Lebanon for 5 years. After that, I came to Turkey, from Turkey to France, and I entered this country, and I asked asylum. But they didn't accept my asylum claim. So after that, I've been homeless. I was very depressed because I don't have any money. I don't want to pay for me. And I just want to study because I don't want to lose my time. I like to have an experience. Maybe one day will change my life, so.
Jerusalem came to us for a grant to cover the cost of a beginner's hairdressing course, so that she can start work as soon as she's allowed.
Okay, we learn about how we have to cut, how we have to stand, and everything about haircutting.
Lee is a former drug addict and had been clean for 18 months before he came to Mizan Charitable Trust. He had been given a council flat with no cooker or washing machine and was living off unhealthy takeaways and ready meals.
The reason why I didn't have any things actually in my flat was because I'd battled drugs for many years, but then got to a point back in 2010 where I thought I can't do this anymore. So I kicked the drugs, didn't get no help to kick it, so I watched other people that say they're going to kick it, they take a script, but they're never clean. They're always taking it, So I just decided, got plenty of food, locked myself in here, and went through hell for 6 weeks. Getting off the drugs, I'd say that's the easy part. It's the part after that, because you've been so used to spending your life getting up in the morning, going out, robbing something, just to buy drugs, just to feel normal, Once you've got away from the drugs, the hard part, is now what do I do with my life? Because, you're weak, you got no energy, you got no get up and go. The drugs were your confidence, That's been taken away, so then you start to isolate yourself. But then after the professional help, I started to look around this place and think, I've got to start looking after myself, feeding myself. So that's when my TST worker said about he'd found you online, and that we could fill out an application form. So that's what we did. We tried going through the grant system, but we just got a knock back with that, yeah. And we tried a few other places, but for some unknown reason, I didn't fit the criteria. I'd got nowhere else that I could go to get the items that I needed to survive, basically, like a cooker and a washing machine. Well, I can feed myself, I look a hell of a lot better. My confidence is coming back. Instead of isolating myself in here all day long, yeah, I go out now, I'm more outgoing. Now trying to get in touch with a local place, yeah, to do a bit more voluntary work, yeah.
Robert suffers from a chronic congenital spine condition, which was causing him a lot of pain and stiffness, restricting his mobility. He applied to us for a grant for an orthopaedic mattress.
I've got the a congenital spinal condition called spondylolisthesis. Can't even spell it. And it just means your bones get weaker in your spine, and these sort of things, ankles and things, as you get older. And tire fitting and that sort of thing was probably the worst thing I could have chosen to do in my life if I'd have known. But eventually it gets pretty bad. But I've had a lot of operations and treatment, and I'm going through pain management courses and things, and electric shock therapy. And sleeping was becoming a real problem, because if I slept on an ordinary mattress, it was when I woke up I couldn't move. So it was like I was having to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get out the door by 9, which is not very funny. I didn't have sufficient money for the deposit. It's as simple as that. And I've just been through a divorce and extremely two sets of moving, and obviously I had to go into a temporary accommodation first and then to here, and it's very, very draining financially. And literally I was left with very, very few resources. And friends have helped, and Mizan have helped, and I'm starting to get back to a reasonable level now. So that was why I had to apply for a grant, was in order to fund the bed, to be able to afford the deposit, which is £250. And the thing with the bed is you can sort of put it in the right angle, so your spine's kept at that angle, because I've got a broken spine essentially. So it's not sort of grating when you're sleeping. It sounds a bit dramatic, but essentially that's what it is. So when you wake up in the morning, it's sort of pretty much agony getting moving and twisting, and you have to do various exercises to get moving, and painkillers and all that sort of thing. Getting that bed is probably the one best thing that I've done recently, that to improve my health situation. Because before it was literally a nightmare. The longer you stay in bed, the stiffer your back gets, and it's just a vicious circle. It's always nice to know that there are people out there that are willing to help you. I found that very much with Look Ahead and with Mizan. And it's not just words, it's deeds. Verb non factor.
From these stories, it's clear that sometimes all it takes is a small grant to turn someone's life around. Some of the people we've helped go on to volunteer their time to help others in similar situations.
First part of my life, I was really selfish, idiot, yeah. Was always in trouble with the police, Second part of my life, sort of like since I gave up drugs and idiots, yeah. I like to be, if I think I can do something which will make a difference to, say, the young or the old, yeah, then my heart's there, I'll do it. I created a garden in Holston for a drug project, yeah, so they got somewhere to rehabilitate people and teach them gardening, yeah. That was back in 2011. I just like getting involved in most things.
I'm trying to basically give back a bit, because I've been helped so much. So I want to give back a bit, to the people that help me, or just people in general. So, it's a nice feeling to be able to help somebody for nothing, for no reward, essentially. So that's what I do. That's what I intend doing.
Oh, it made me feel like somebody actually, there was somebody out there that was, I don't know, there was somebody out there with a heart, you know what I mean? Because when you're in an inner city and you're on your own, yeah, it can feel very isolated and as if like everything's against you. The more good you do, that you don't seem to, no one ever seems to say, oh, well, we'll help you with this, you know what I mean? So it was nice, yeah.
I'd like to say thank you very much for this helping people. Yeah, I appreciate it.
All I can say is that Al Mizan were the only ones to respond, A, so rapidly, and B, with anything of material benefit to me, of the people that were approached. So, I'm grateful there are people like Al Mizan around, and that are doing good work.
We are extremely grateful to our donors for giving us the opportunity to help Lee, Jerusalem and Robert. Without their help, we wouldn't have been able to achieve anything. It's time for us to accept that our welfare system is broken, and those who are unfortunate enough to have to depend on it are struggling to make ends meet. Every day we receive countless applications from victims of domestic violence, young people and the disabled. Our mission is to help as many people as we can. Whether you can volunteer your time, help spread the word about our work, or donate towards our cause, we are grateful for any support you can offer. After all, charity begins at home.